ride this train. Come on, let's ride this train. How I miss the 9 to 5 lyrics in my song.
So hey, don't you like my vintage diner stools? Got those down in Sevierville, Tennessee when we were down in Tennessee this spring. Hopefully you've been watching my travel vlog. We've been exploring the Smoky Mountains, mostly in Tennessee, a little bit in North Carolina. So next week, after this video, we're going to drive Tail of the Dragon. That was a phenomenal morning, phenomenal trip. So hopefully you'll be around for that video as well. So I mentioned earlier that we were members of the AACA, or Antique Automobile Club of America. I want to get the car certified in the AACA preservation category. And there are certain things that you need to do or need to prove that this car is original. In one of the recent issues of Antique Automobile, which is the AACA's publication, there was a change to the title of this preservation group. And it was originally called the Historical Preservation of Original Features, or HPOF. So, and that is the way it is listed in the official judging guide. This is last year's book. In the new book, they've changed that, and they have a new title for that. And they're no longer calling it the Historical Preservation of Original Features group. They are now calling it the AAC Original category, and they did a whole write-up on that in the magazine. But the rules haven't changed. How you get certified hasn't changed. There is a chart that you have to go through and certify personally those parts of the car that you know are original. Well, because I've owned this car since the day it came out of the factory, I can speak pretty reliably to those things that have been fixed or changed or modified since I bought the car. Pretty small amount of stuff. But before we get started, I want to do a really quick read for you guys that here is the definition, the AACA definition of the AACA original category. And it says the vehicles in this class represent the evolution of automobile history and depict originality over restoration. So that's key here. A cornerstone belief of AACA is based upon originality, and this class allows us to see history as it was and establish a program to encourage the saving and display of collector vehicles in their original as manufactured condition. Now, I do have a small bone to pick with AACA and the judging standard, but I have been steeped in this for over 30 years, and my mantra has always been, it's only original once, which is what AACA is saying. It's only original once. And once you start tinkering with things and you start pulling away what's original, then the history begins to go away. Now, I'm not saying that cars shouldn't ever be restored. They probably should. But when we do firearms restorations, for instance, there are features there are wear patterns on certain firearms that are the history. It is the story of that firearm. Well, it's true with everything, like an old building or an old car. There's a story here, okay? And that story is told by the wear patterns in the car. And that is what AACA's original category is sort of designed to depict or to show. But they also encourage restorations. And it is the restoration process in AACA that I sort of become irritated with. Because when you go to judging school, one of the things they always talk about is you want to carefully evaluate cars that are over-restored. Well, the truth is, as soon as you get away from originality, you can have a poor restoration, or you can have an over-the-top restoration, or an over-restored car. The problem is I see it, and I've got a lot to learn here, that over-restoration gets the scores, it gets the points. And I think it's important to know that those judging points, the scoring that you get, junior, senior awards, it does affect the value of that car should you want to display it or should you want to sell it. So there is some weight and value to the AACA scoring that can help the value of that car maybe at auction or when you sell it. So that is one of the things about the AACA judging system that kind of bothers me, is that you can get rewarded for an over-restored car, and that may not be the intentions of the judges, and I'm sure it's not. But when you look at two cars side by side and one has a better restoration than the other, or a better paint job than the other, or better interior than the other, even though that interior may not have come out of the factory looking like that, but because it is better than it was, it gets a higher score. That is my impression based on my limited experience with this. If you're a judge in the AACA standards, leave a comment. I'm always willing to learn. You guys know that. So the definition: since its founding, AACA has been dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and maintenance of automobiles. In the furtherance of the preservation mission, the AACA Board of Directors in 1987 established a program to encourage the saving and display of collector vehicles in their original as manufactured condition. The HPOF, or now the original AACA original category program, encourages owners of vehicles 25 years old or older to maintain significant original features in this original condition and to show them at AACA Nationals. A vehicle may be entirely original, or it may have certain original features such as paint, chassis, upholstery, engine compartment, etc. that are essentially key as delivered. These vehicles will not be point judged, so you can't get into the 300 point category if you're trying to go for that original badge that they give out. These vehicles will not be point judged. A vehicle being evaluated for the first time, if certified, will receive, they have these little plaques that go on the cars. Anyway, so I'm thinking that I'd like to get this car evaluated for the AACA original badge. Now that means I've got to get this car brought to a national event, wherever those are. Hershey is typically the closest for me. But there's some work that I need to do to this car just to make it roadworthy again. So one of the things I want to do with you guys is to walk around the car, and I'll take you on tour with me as we walk around the car. And there is a 30-point checklist that you as the owner have to certify any part that's not original to the manufacturer of that car. There are a few on this. I mean, the car's 50 years old. So there have been some changes that I've made, but I want to go over this checklist with you guys and sort of check off those things that I know, because I've owned it since new, are not original to its manufacturer, things that I've had to change. So there's 30 points, and you cannot score less than a 24 to get this thing certified as an AACA original category. So I want to go through this with you, and then we'll tally up the score at the end. And if it's less than 24, I can't even bring it down and get it judged or scored for that plaque. So let's turn around and let me get this car moved away from the wall, get it out to the center of the garage. We'll pick up the camera, we'll walk around, and I'll show you what it is that is not original to the form. Don't go away. I want to say right up front that I think AACA is one of the finest clubs or organizations for the automotive collector that I know. If you've never been or experienced the library, if you've never experienced the people who are willing to help, then you really do misunderstand the capabilities that this organization can provide for the serious car nut or car collector, car restorer. One of the things that I've learned about AACA over the last couple of years is that if you are not familiar with the organization, if you are not familiar with the features and the opportunities they can provide a collector or a restorer or somebody who is just deeply interested in the automotive culture, then you don't understand the value that this organization can have to you. And one of the things, obviously, that is most important to the group is the AACA library. I've used it. There are things that you can gather from there. They have a huge collection of materials that allow you to research your particular car, your particular mark, and to understand that history of that mark that allows you to do the best restoration or to manage the best preservation of that car that you can. When I look at the form, it is the HPOF certification form, or now the AACA original certification form. And there are multiple categories that they look at. They look at the interior. They want to look at the body or the exterior. They want to look at the engine and drivetrain. Those are the three major categories that are important to be evaluated. So let's take a few minutes and walk around the car, and we'll start with the interior. Why not? So the question is, are these features non-original? It's not evaluating the condition, it's actually evaluating whether they are original to the car or not. So the first thing they ask about are the seat panels. So if we look at the seat panels and we ask simply the question, are those seat panels original to the car? Well, the answer would be yes, they are. Now, the driver's seat is worn. I mean, I drove this car for 17 years before I retired it. So is it worn? It is worn. Does it need to be restored or repaired? I don't know if I can. So this is some of the things I need to learn when I start talking about how far can I take this car to make it usable, drivable, comfortable, and decent looking. So the seat panels is the first. Are they original? Yes, they are. It asks about the door panels and the headliner. The door panels on both doors are immaculate. They are like brand new. Same with the headliner. The headliner is immaculate, like brand new. The floor covering and the sill trim and welting. The floor covering, the carpet is in good shape. It needs to be cleaned pretty badly, actually. The sill plates, the Fisher, Body by Fisher sill plates, they're in excellent condition. Again, we're not evaluating condition, just are they original? They are original to the car. The console and the shifter is all original to the car. All right. It's got the original mahogany inlays. I do have to do a little bit of work on those, I think. But anyway, they are original to the car. The dash, instruments, AC, sound system, all original. All the gauges work. The AC currently does not work, but it's original. It is what was in the car, and I'll show you that here in a bit. Steering wheel, wheel columns, pedals, all of them are original to the car. Again, some of those trim pieces need to be replaced, but they are original to the car. Steering wheel is all original to the car. Handles, cranks, and windows. Well, there's no cranks. There are the handles. Handles are original and in good condition. So the trunk, is the trunk in good condition? Well, do you remember when you got 2 keys with a car? So the trunk is all original. There are some things. The matting is original. The spare is original. These cardboard pieces are original to the car. They've seen better days. They need some help. The jack is original. All of the rubber moldings are original to the car. Do they need to be replaced? They absolutely do. So by looking at the interior, there's no deductions that I'm going to take because we're not evaluating condition. We're evaluating whether or not they are original. So let's go to body and exterior. So it wants to know about the hood and the front fenders. Again, we're not evaluating condition, just whether they're original, and they are all original. This is the original. Everything on this body on the front is original to the car. So it has the original hood. Original fenders. When we get to the rear quarter, that's when things begin to get a little interesting. This is all original. This car has no rust on it, which there's a reason for that, and we could share that if you're interested. However, this is not the original deck lid. And you can see it has some condition issues. And those condition issues could be disqualifying if we were trying to get this car judged in a show. But let's talk about that. The car was 1 year old, and I got rear-ended at a stoplight by a heavy-duty or four-wheel drive high-lift pickup truck with a plow frame. I was parked at the stoplight. The driver of the pickup wasn't looking, wasn't paying attention, and slammed into the back of the car. Totally crunched up that deck lid. But that was 1 year after the car was new, so I had to have a body shop replace that trunk deck, repaint it, and obviously because it's all peeling, the paint job probably wasn't the best that it could have been. But anyway, so that is a replacement deck. So could I turn around and check that this is known to be non-original? I can do that, and I have done that. But here's the problem I'm having with this, and this is where asking a judge to help me understand this. That deck lid was being made by GM. So it's a GM component, but it's not original to the manufacturer of the car. So I'm going to check it. So it asks, are the door panels original or are the doors original? The doors are original to the car. Just the way I bought it 50 years ago. Wants to know about the roof panels. The roof panels are the same. They are showing some paint conditions. If the roof panels are including this Landau top, then the Landau top is not original. I did have to replace that. I did that over 30 years ago. The car's 50 years old. I probably had that done when the car was 20 years old, so I had that replaced. It does have a little bit of a condition issue all these years later. So, but that is a replacement, so that will be a deduction. So the bumpers, the grills, the radiator shells, all of that is original to the car. It is the way I bought it, including the back bumper. Fortunately, when the truck hit me, the plow frame was high enough that it went up over the top of that bumper and just squished the deck lid itself. Trim, striping, moldings. So there are some trim issues. When we replaced the Landau, unfortunately, this thing, the trim around the Landau window or rear window got just damaged, and of course it's all the little chrome stuffy is coming off, and it's like that on both sides. I think the other side is actually broken worse. It's actually missing parts. I do have some of that down inside the car. The rest of the trim is as we got it. So all of the trim that goes around the wheel wells, that lower body molding is all original. Trim, everything even around the door is all original. This is back when they put chrome on cars. But what is especially nice about this is it's really refined. It's small molding. It's not the thick, wide molding they put on everything nowadays. I did have to reattach this body line molding. This was all curled up in the back seat for years. A couple of years ago, I bought some double-sided 3M tape and reapplied that to both sides. I actually made a video of that. So if any of you guys are interested in seeing some of the videos I already made on the Pontiac, just leave a comment and I'll show you how we did some of that work. I had to do a little bit of, had a dent here. I had to pull that dent out. So unfortunately the paint suffered for that, but the dent was a result of somebody in a parking lot, which is how these things go. So most of the trim, or not most of, all of the trim molding is original to the car. No deductions there. Then they're asking about the lights. All the lights are original. I don't ever even remember if I ever changed a light bulb in this thing. I have no idea. I might have, I don't remember. So the lights in the back, the accessories. So no accessories were added, all original. And this has an 8-track. Remember 8 tracks? So it has an 8-track player, AM, FM stereo. Missing or non-authentic parts, there are none. So we're good there. So now I have 2 deductions. So I'm down to 28 points, and 24 is the minimum points for deductions I can go. So the engine and the drivetrain are the next category. So it wants to know, are the heads and valve covers original? They absolutely are. I've done very, very little to the motor on this car. Matter of fact, I've done essentially nothing. You can see that we're starting to have some age issues with all of this. Wants to know block manifold and crankcase. All of that is original. Battery and starter. Okay, so the battery, that's been replaced multiple times. Unfortunately, it is a side post, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get another one that way or not. I got to go to the parts store because this battery is shot. I have to charge it to start it. So the battery, the starter, I did replace that, God, 35 years ago. And you can hear it when I start it now. There's a soft spot. There's a dead spot. I don't know what's going on with that. So back in the day, I used to have to go out with a hammer and hit the starter to get the Bendix to engage. Right now I just have to click it 3 or 4 times and then finally it engages. But this is not the original battery nor the original starter. So we are going to take away a point for that. Generator, alternator, AC, and pumps. Yes, it's all original. The AC doesn't work. There's some issues. I had to take the belt off because I didn't want to ruin and you can hear it drag. So anyway, I had to pull the belt off from that. And the AC is all original to the car. You're looking at it the way it came out of the factory. It just doesn't work, but it is original. And we're not evaluating condition, just whether it's original or not. Fuel system, carburetor, filters. So all of that is original. However, the carburetor did get rebuilt. And one of the problems with the carburetor, not the carburetor, but this engine, it had a heat riser that came out of the manifold, and there was a tube or a pipe that went up into the carburetor, and that's how the kick down would kick down once it got warm enough. So I did have to put an electric choke on it, And this is an older version of that heat electric choke. And I had to put a shield on here because the fan would cool off the electric choke, and it just wouldn't work, and it was always on high idle. So that has been replaced. The fuel system, carburetor, and filters have not been replaced, but that heat riser has been replaced, but it doesn't specifically say that. So I'm going to give myself charity, and I'm not going to take points off for the heat riser. So radiator, fan, and horn, all of that is original. I did have a new core put in the radiator, so it's the original radiator with a new core. I don't even know how to think about that. I don't know whether I should take points away for that because it is the original radiator with just new fans. I will check it and see how the score comes out. The next thing it wants to know is clamps, fasteners, hoses, and belts. They are original, I think. So there is an original to the air conditioning, and it is a band clamp. So they're all band clamps, and I've not done anything to the air conditioning. So I'm going to make the leap that these band clamps on the radiator are original as well. I don't ever remember changing them. So I'm going to make the leap that they are original. Clamps, fasteners, hoses, belts. I have not changed any of that. Those are original hoses. That might be a little bit scary to think about if I ever want to drive this thing, because that is all original. It's pliable though. This car has lived indoors almost all of its life. So in a heated garage. So I think that's partly why it's in the shape that it's in. So all of that, the drive system, steering, all of that is original. The firewall and finish, all of that's original. I've changed nothing. It's dirty. It definitely needs a good cleaning under here, and we will do that. Wheels, rims, tires. The tires are not original. We have already talked about that, but I don't know how you have a 50-year-old car and not replace the tires. I did do the raised letters. I think that if I replace them, or when I replace them, I'll do raised white letter again, because it's just cool compared to the skinny white walls that were there. So rims, tires, the rims are the same. The wheels are the same. All of that is the way it came out of the factory. I'm not going to take away for tires. That seems to be silly to me. Suspension, chassis, and exhaust. All of that's original as well. I haven't done anything to the suspension, but that brings up another interesting question, because after 50 years, these springs are sagging, and I want to replace them with new springs so that the car isn't sagging, so that we're back up on the original height. But for the point of this exercise, those are the original springs and suspension. I've changed nothing under there. I've put some new brake pads on it. Is that disqualifying? Again, I don't know how that could be, because if you use a car, you're going to have to replace all that stuff. All right, so even if I take the tires and I put a check mark there, I don't think it's right, but I'll do that. When we look at this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 deductions on the score sheet. And all I can have is 6. So, based on this is a self-score now. This is how this is doing this. 24 would be the minimum. And that would be a 6-point deductions. I'm at 5. So simply looking at this score sheet, I technically should be able to bring this to a national show and ask them to score this thing the way it is. I mean, I don't know how cars get more original than this. And some of these things that they say are not qualifying, I really don't quite understand it, because it doesn't make sense to me. All right, so that is the scoring on this. This is already a long video. She's prettier this way. So this is already a long video, and I'm going to stop it here. When I come back on this car, I'm going to set up a whiteboard, because there are some things that I need to do to this car that they just need to be done. So the front driver's seat, it's electrically operated, multiple directions. It doesn't function correctly. So I need to get that out, get it turned upside down, oil up any of the gears and things, and make sure that the mice haven't got under there and destroyed any of the wires. It works, it runs, but it is really slow. So there are some things I got to do, and I want to make a list of those, put them on a whiteboard, so that as I check this stuff out, I want to bring you along, show you the things that have to be done to this car, just to make it more comfortable and more roadworthy. One of the things that I have to do, and I told you my buddy Wayne was going to help me with this, is there's a leak in the exhaust, one of the side of the exhaust manifolds, and I think it may be a cracked manifold. Wayne doesn't think it is. Wayne thinks it's a gasket, but I'm not convinced at this point. I think there's a broken manifold. And it is impossible to find a exhaust manifold for a Pontiac 400 of this era. If you guys know where I can source one, leave a comment. That would all be very helpful. I want to flush the brake lines, and I want Wayne to kind of check those and make sure they're not corroded. Old brake fluid is corrosive, so we need to talk about that. I need new tires. I want to sandblast and repaint those rims. So there's a lot of things that I want to do over the next few years and get this thing. First thing I want to do is get it on the road. Now that's interesting because state of New Hampshire has just rescinded all of its state inspection requirements. So starting in January of 2026, I no longer have to have any of my cars inspected. There's a lot of flack out there about this decision, whether it's good or it's bad. But you know what? There's a lot of different ways to think about it. My old flat fender Jeeps, state law, I don't have to get those inspected. They're over 70 years old. There's no state inspection requirements. If anything is going to fail, it's going to be one of these old flat fenders because of the age of the technology. But it's up to me to keep up with it. It's up to any car collector to keep up with the quality of the car that they're driving. So same with this. This is, by not having state inspections, this may give me some options. I'm not interested in dying tomorrow, so making sure that the brakes work and the brake lines are good are all important to me. Getting that exhaust leak fixed is important to me. I don't want to die from asphyxiation, and it's loud and it's obnoxious, so I want to get that done. Getting that seat so it sits properly. I don't need to get that fixed to drive it, to get it inspected, but I want to get it done. Getting that trunk lid repainted, I want to do that. So there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I want to bring you guys along as I make the repair/restoration list for this car, so I can start getting this. I really do want to get this back on the road. This was my daily driver. This was my pride and my joy. And here's something that's interesting, that if you look at the plates on this, the last time this was registered was 1993. That's a long time ago. That's 30 years ago. This car has not been on the road in 30 years. It's been in safe storage for all those years, I take it out once or twice a year, run it around the yard, which is why it starts so well, because we're always adding fresh gas to it and we're always trying to keep the thing up. It does leak some oil. Don't know where. Right now I don't care about that. I just hope to get it running so that as it gets through several heat cycles, that I'm hoping that some of those leaks might stop. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave the comments. This would be one I'd be really interested in getting your take on this video. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are trying to grow this channel. I will see you in the next video coming up, where we drive the tail of the dragon from Tennessee to North Carolina. Bye, guys.